Students, a very warm welcome to all of you. Online students, please confirm if I am audible and visible to all of you. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Online students, before we begin the session on your roadmap for next 18 months, I want to understand my students better. So how many of you are preparing for 2027? You can raise your hands as well. Also, you can type in the comment box. Anyone who has given any attempt so far or who is going to give in 2026 as well? Okay, so most of you are from 2027. Okay, ठीक है. All right, so in this very session, what we are going to do is we are going to have a strategy for next 18 months so that you have clarity and you don't hear all the noises that will be there in the course of these 18 months, right? But again, always remember whatever we are going to discuss, it is a strategy, and strategies without execution may not materialize, right? So after the session, take all the lessons that you can in the session that I'll discuss, but at the same time, try to execute whatever we will be discussing. All right. So first thing is, I hope all of you, most of you are for 2027 or onwards, because otherwise, again, there will be some things that may help you in your prelims or mains, but this is broadly a strategy session. Now, first thing is, I always tell my students, whenever you are preparing for any examination or for that matter, anything in life, first thing is you have to understand the challenge ahead of you, right? So there's a very famous quote by Sun Tzu, who has written this classic work, The Art of War. If you know your enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result. 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will actually suffer a defeat. And if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every single battle. So the lesson from this particular quote is, first thing is, obviously you have to understand what UPSC expects from you, right? So this examination, there are certain things that they check in an aspirant. Also at the same time, you have to understand yourself better. And in this course of this particular session, we are going to discuss this only, what is the expectation of UPSC from yourself. Also at the same time, what the qualities that you have to have, okay? So without further ado, I first propose to help you understand what are the expectations of UPSC. So I hope all of you understand how this examination is, what are the various stages of examination. So anyone who doesn't know about the examination per se? I hope not, right? So the first test that you have is prelims examination. In prelims, how many students actually appear, at least fill the form of prelims? Any idea? Around 8, 10, 12 lakhs, right? Post-COVID, it has increased substantially, right? So the prelims is a filtering mechanism, right? So this is something that you have to understand. Many people, I have seen many students starting their preparation with everything, with all the energy, all the motivation, but they don't understand that what is the requirement. They endlessly practice prelims on and on and on without even thinking about mains. I have seen people even after multiple even attempts, because they don't clear prelims, they have no roadmap, they have no strategy, they have no notes for mains. So how many of you, specifically if you have started your preparation 2 or 3 months have gone by, how many of you have written some tests for yourself? Mains test, even a half-length test will do. Anyone? Honest students? Someone who has started the preparation, but again, have you attempted any test yet? Not even mains. Have you attempted any prelims test so far? No one? Okay. So if you are not, if you are just starting, maybe a week or 15 days has passed by and you have not written, that's okay. But more than that, if you have committed a time, but if you're not practicing, this is a session for you, because it will tell you in the very beginning that yes, prelims is examination where it will filter out. So the idea is the 10 lakh people who are going to fill the form, maybe 7-8 lakhs will appear in the examination. Out of those, only 10 to 12,000 are going to write mains. But at the same time, prelims actually is a filtering mechanism. It does not give you a rank. It gives you the admit card for mains. That's all. So yes, qualifying prelims is necessary, but do not neglect mains preparation for that. Okay? So idea is obviously you have to have a very specific strategy for yourself so that you have everything ahead of you. You plan ahead so that you can execute whenever time comes. Okay. Yes. Okay. If you have written some tests, that's good. That's good, Shambhavi. Okay. So what are the attributes they are checking in prelims? If I can ask you, what are the attributes they are going to check in prelims? It's not just about your knowledge. I hope you understand this and you keep it till the very end. That prelims is not just a check of your knowledge. It is basically check of your calmness under pressure, right? Because job is going to be such that you have to have a lot of pressure day in, day out. So first thing is they are checking your pressure, whether you can, maybe you have read Lakshmikant say 10 times, but are you able to recall everything in those 2 hours? That is going to be a test. And for that, what to do, we'll discuss in this session. Next come the most important phase, most important pillar of your UPSC preparation, that is going to be mains. So it is the mains that more or less decides your rank, right? Whether you are going to go in the list or not. Obviously, interviews plays a huge role as well. But if you score, say, 920 marks, 950 marks in mains, there are very few chances that you will not be selected. So all the hard work that you can do, and again, the syllabus of mains is prescribed, right? They do not go beyond that. So mains is something that should be there whenever you are preparing. Every day you have to, specifically we are targeting 2027, your whole schedule, your whole methods should align to mains as well, right? Obviously, we'll go for integrated preparation, and the examination has evolved over the years in such a way that if you are good in mains, you automatically becomes good in prelims and vice versa. Okay? But in mains, you have to remember that it does not matter whether you are a PhD in a particular subject. Everyone gets only 7 minutes to write a 10 marker, right? Similarly, 2 pages to write a 10 marker. So whenever you are preparing, always keep that in mind, that maybe I have read 10 books for that. It won't matter. At the end, those 2 pages will actually define whether you are going to get through the list or not, right? So examiner doesn't know you, whether you are a PhD or not. It just knows how well you have written in those 7 minutes. So don't chase content. Ki ek content ke liye you are chasing 5 different materials. This is the message I want to get to your heads, right? So you have one particular material, you revise it multiple times. Second thing is, in mains, there is lack of space and time. You are struggling to complete the paper in 3 hours. Similarly, maybe you have a lot of ideas, but you have to show the brevity there, right? Your answer should be precise. And this is what separates normal aspirants from rankers. When you analyze toppers' copies, how many of you have actually seen toppers' copies? Okay, so do they write very, very long paragraphs, very long introductions? But when you start writing, introductions flows into half page, more than half page, right? Anyone who is able to write precise introduction as of now? If you have written, online students? Please be honest. That's good. If someone is able to do that, that is very good. You are, again, having a good start. But at the same time, you have to understand it doesn't matter where you are starting from. It's these months that are going to count, right? I have seen aspirants, I have seen rankers who have started with only 10, 15 marks when they first appeared, right? And they hold a rank today. But at the same time, I have seen people maybe writing their first test and got 70, 80 marks, right? But are still not able to make it. So idea is you have to first understand that your notes should be in such a way that it aligns with the need of the examination. You do not need 1,000 pages grunts. Anything that you cannot revise, you will not take it up. ठीक है, हमेशा दिमाग में रखना, if you cannot revise anything 5 to 7 times, you are not going to use it. It's a waste of your time and your energy. ठीक है, this is the first thing. Second thing is, anyone who has appeared in mains or who is going to appear in mains, they'll understand that 50% of the population will be again repeating the same process, right? They have some idea, they have already written the mains, right? Also, even those who are going to attempt the mains for the first time, they have basic idea, they have been studying for last 1.5 years. So ideas everyone has, right? If I ask you what are the issues with judiciary today, kya issues hai? Okay, ठीक है, what else? Transparency नहीं है, yes. Uncle Judge syndrome, ठीक है, what else? Overburden है, right? So everyone here, even when you're starting, you know the basics, you have some idea. But when I say, someone said judicial activism, and I say this to you, ki what's the difference between judicial activism and overreach? Discuss and elaborate with the use of Supreme Court cases. Will you be able to answer that, and that too in 7 minutes? That is going to be a challenge. You have to know ki these and these cases are there, right? So anything that you are going to write has to be authentic, and at the same time, maybe you will also want to stand out from others. If I ask you about, say, integrity, right, in ethics, what's the first example that comes to your mind? The person, the IAS officer with utmost integrity in India, Ashok Khemka. So believe me, I have seen students over the years, and everyone quotes the same thing, right? They quote the same Mother Teresa, Buddha, Gandhi, Ashok Khemka, all these examples. So yes, in the beginning, it was substantiation. But now, from last 5 years, if everyone is doing the same thing, it's not substantiation anymore. It is generic stuff. So you have to do something that will make you stand out from others. So there was a topper, Shubham Kumar, who wonderfully said one thing. In anthropology, I use the material of toppers. I use the same notes. But I made sure for everything that I read, I had 2 unique points for myself. That research I did myself. This is something that you have to write it down. For every answer, 80% of the stuff will be the same. But it is that 1 or 2 points, or maybe a good introduction or a conclusion or a flowchart or a map or a diagram, whatever. This is what will help you stand out. Because if an examiner is evaluating copies, if 9 out of 10 copies have the same examples, again, the marks will be awarded in a very generic way. But again, if you are able to create that aha moment for the examiner, it will help you fetch that extra half and 1 mark. And this is the race actually. This half mark or 1 mark, this is where you have to keep all your efforts, right? For next 1.5 years, you will be fighting for that extra 1.5 mark. Okay? And if you accumulate that, that is the difference between a rank and not qualifying. Okay? So make sure that you will respect the space and the time. So anything that takes more time to write, or anything, maybe you read something wonderful in newspapers. You write everything down from the newspapers. But if you're not able to write it down in your answers, it will not have any value, right? Similarly, again, note making. So notes have to be in such a fashion that you can revise it multiple times and then you can concise it, right? Over a period of time, it should be refined. And make sure that you are not using some fossilized note. Someone created that notes in 2019 or 2017 and you are still using it, because things change very quickly, right? Substantiation change very quickly. So this is something that you have to understand from mains point of view, that it is the test of your uniqueness as well, right? I'm not saying basics are not important. Basics are important. But again, you have to stand out from others as well. And finally, again, in interview, it is more about the confidence that you have, the personality that you have, right? It's not a test of your knowledge. They have already tested all those things in your mains preparation. They are going to test your personality. That's why it's a personality test. So start, if you have a hobby, pursue it, read about it. Maybe 15 minutes or at least weekly basis, you pursue that as well, so that it will reduce the burnout, right? Also, it will help you prepare for your interviews. Okay? So this is something that you have to understand in the very beginning, that why I am doing something, because it is needed in my prelims or not. it is needed in my mains or not, right? I will never compromise my mains when I'm going to start for prelims, right? So mains, जब तक mains की तैयारी नहीं है, prelims देना बेकार है, right? There is no certificate for prelims per se. Always remember this. ठीक है? Online students, are you with me till now? I hope everything is clear. If it is not, please let me know. Now, I want to share some harsh realities because you are again going to be in this process for next 1.5 years or 2 years, right? Whole exam cycle will take that much amount of time. So I should make this very clear that this exam, there's a lot of things involved that are obviously some things are in your control, some things are not because of the system that we have designed. So 99.9% of the people will not be there in the list, right? And then we have to prepare accordingly. So if someone is saying, sir, I am having a college, it's true. But at the same time, UPSC will not understand that you are a college aspirant. You have to take some time out, or you have to plan your schedule accordingly, or you have to plan your attempt accordingly. Okay? If you are a working professional, doesn't matter. If you are aspiring for UPSC, maybe you will get only 5 hours. Maybe you will get only 6 hours. But you have to use those 5-6 hours very effectively. Your weekends very effectively, right? So these many people are going to fail. So competition is immense. So you cannot have like, I'll chill, मैं सब करूँगा, and again, without making any sacrifices, I'll be able to clear the list. No, ऐसा नहीं होगा. ठीक है? So again, I need all of you at your best for next 1.5 years. इतना हो पाएगा? करोगे इतना? Because again, if you are doubting yourself now, when things get hard, it will be more difficult. Okay, so have that self-belief. Yes, I'll do it. I'm here to crack this examination. Mindset is very important, right? Similarly, again, things are not fair in life as well as in UPSC. Someone may be having a very good background, right? Someone, when they were having a conversation at dinner tables, they were discussing on economy while you were discussing something else about movies, right? It is natural. So don't compare yourself with others. It's your journey and you have to navigate every step, right? So don't compare to your friends or your seniors, whatever. They must have different circumstances. Now, thing is, UPSC rewards consistency. So if someone is very smart, from a very good college, IITs, IIMs, top DU colleges, whatever, everything will balance out because of the consistent effort if you are making, right? So you have to ensure that, again, UPSC is going to be brutal, so you are, again, on your best. This is something that you cannot ignore. Also, my dear students, you have to understand, maybe even you interact with your seniors. How many of you have someone who is already in service? Koi hai? Any someone in family or friend? Family, right? So if you ask them what was their mental state when they were about to give mains or interview, everyone is scared, right? They also think, I'm not prepared yet. Ye bhi bacha hai, abhi ye bhi bacha hai. That is true. That will remain that way. And this is the beauty of this examination. So yes, you will never be prepared. This is a harsh reality, but you have to accept that and turn that into your strength, that no one is prepared. I don't care whether I'm starting today or maybe starting maybe just before 8 months of preparation. You have to have that confidence. Yes, I'm going to start and I'm going to give them my best because no one else is prepared as well. Okay? And final thing is, yes, as I discussed earlier, you will need that mental calmness. You will need that support system as well, right? Otherwise, again, it's a long journey. Okay? So if someone is motivating you, if someone is there to push you towards realizing your potential, keep them around. Okay? All right. Now, there are some myths that I want to burst in the very beginning of this session. How many of you think 6 months are enough for the preparation, or you need 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? What's the optimum level of time that you need to prepare? 2.5 years? With college, I agree. With college, it is that. Apart from that? Right. So I hope it depends. Obviously, there is a lot of subjectivity around that. If someone is having, say, sociology in their background, in the master's or PhD, I don't know. But idea is, you will need at least 1 to 1 0.5 years. Optimum time, as per me, if you are beginning from scratch, is 18 months, right? 18 months to 2 years overall in the cycle, and you are good to go. Not more than that. 18 months is the optimum time. We'll discuss why, right? How many subjects do we have in GS1 mains? We'll consider that geography only. So maybe 5-6 types of history, 1 society and 1 geography. In GS2, internal security. अच्छा, ठीक है. हाँ, so we can categorize them in polity, governance, and you have your IR wala part. ठीक है. So every subject will have 3 to 4 subjects within. So you are going to have at least 14 to 15 subjects, including your options. ठीक है. So it is not going to be easy task. Mind that. So whatever you are going to plan for next 18 months, you have to understand that something has to be read. It has to be revised multiple times, at least 3 to 4 times before you appear for prelims. And then obviously 3 to 4 times after that as well, right? So any source that you are taking up, you have to take that care as well. Okay. Second thing is, many people believe that the more number of books I read, the more the intelligent I'll become and I'll get very good marks. If that was the case, my dear students, it will be there on YouTube. Hush, don't worry about it, right? So how many of you actually have read more than 1 book for a particular subject? History के लिए क्या पढ़ते हैं? Modern history के लिए? Okay. एक ही टॉपिक को 2 बुक से करना, that's the idea. Anyone who has read Spectrum as well as Bipin Chandra or Spectrum, Placido Partition or something like that? No, right? Make sure. Maybe you have your reference material. If you are enrolled in a coaching, you have your yellow books, right? So stick to 1 primary source and 1 standard source, right? Maximum. This is the maximum. If some source like polity, Lakshmikant is there, it is the Bible for polity, prelims, right? So yes, that is all. So idea is success will not be there if you chase all the material. It doesn't matter. Maybe for a particular thing, say from economics perspective, if you do not have something very concrete, right? But again, if you have your class notes, if you are referring the yellow books along with the current affairs, it will do. You need not chase every other book like Uma Kapila or something like that. Okay? So minimize your sources. That's the key. Minimize your sources. Revise it multiple times. No, not necessary, Jatin. If you are into college, say first year of your college, and you are not eligible to give the examination, it's fine. Someone is asking, is it necessary to read all the NCRTs, right? If you have time with you, if you are preparing for, you have say 2 years with you, 3 years with you, that is fine. But if you are targeting 27, I'll not recommend reading all the NCRTs. Okay? There are certain NCRTs, and again, people, various toppers have shared their book list with you. So again, you can go through that. Third thing is, many people, either they are very much overconfident that I am very smart, or sometimes they are very underconfident. So आपको क्या लगता है? Which one are you? हो जाएगा? मतलब सिर्फ smartness में हो जाएगा? Because I am from IIT, right? Or someone who has maybe failed in 10th or 12th or in BTechs, right? अपने graduation में fail हुए हैं, उनको लगता है नहीं होगा, ऐसा भी नहीं है, right? Underconfident, Prince, the balance is the key, right? It's good that you know your limitations, but you have to work hard for that. But be confident, because it is more about the mindset. If you are having a positive mindset that yes, I'll clear this examination irrespective of what everyone else is saying, and I'm willing to put in my effort, then you will clear this examination. But if you doubt yourself daily कि यार नहीं हो पाएगा, वापस चलते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, then obviously it becomes very difficult, right? So after this session, I want you to write it down for yourself. Yes, I'm going to clear this examination. Come what may, I'll give my best. Okay? Because otherwise, if you are doubting yourself daily, then again, it makes no sense. It is okay to understand your limitations कि मेरी ethics अच्छी नहीं है, मेरी answer writing अच्छी नहीं है, that is okay. But उसके लिए and anything here is a skill. So answer writing अच्छी नहीं है तो skill है वो, जितना practice करोगे उतना अच्छी होगी, right? So understand your limitations and work on that, but don't be underconfident or overconfident. I have seen people from IIMs, I have seen people working in Zurich in Google and still not qualifying even the prelims per se, right? Because they were overconfident. Sometimes even CSET, IIT 45 rank JEE में तब भी 2 बार CSET नहीं हुआ लगातार. So don't be overconfident and don't be underconfident as well. Akriti will take these kinds of questions in the very end in the Q&A session. Please be with me till now. Okay? Till then. All right. So what are the sins that you can commit in your preparation? First thing is you do not have a purpose for yourself. You do not have inner desire. You are here because someone else recommended that this can be a good field for you. Maybe your parents, maybe your brothers, maybe your sister, maybe your friends. If you're not here because you want to be here, leave now. Because otherwise you will just waste the time. It is a tedious process. It's a long process. Gestation is very high. You have to be internally motivated. Second thing is, the thing I told you in the very beginning, you have to have an understanding of this examination, right? So how would you understand this examination? The best thing is first go through syllabus. First go through syllabus, and then whenever you are starting a subject or starting any chapter or any topic, you have to go through the previous year questions. Okay? How many of you have referred at least know syllabus by heart till now? Only one? Why not? Others? Okay, so someone very good doubt as well, because some people think that everything under the sun comes. But understand one thing: if you have this mindset, कि syllabus is not defined per se. I agree, in prelims there are certain things that are not mentioned, but there are two things that you have to understand. In mains, they do not go beyond the syllabus. There are some things, some vague topics, right? Development economics, that is there. But again, that will also be there in the current affairs. If it is not that, they will not ask it. Otherwise, 95% of the things are very much there. If you think I'll just flow, go with the flow, I'll read whatever I feel like, you are in for trouble. Because, and again, many good aspirants, many good people, again, very studious people, studious aspirants, struggle in UPSC because of this very reason, that they don't restrict themselves. Philosophy अच्छा लगता है तो पूरी किताब पढ़ने बैठ गए, इकोनॉमी अच्छा लगता है तो 4 पेपर पढ़ने बैठ गए. First thing is you have to understand what is there in the syllabus. Second thing is you have to go through previous year questions. That will give you the broad idea if this is going to be there in the examination or not. Otherwise, newspaper में ही 3 घंटे लगने वाले हैं. How many of you take more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours for newspapers? ठीक है, we'll do come on this as well. Online students. All right. So first thing is you have to understand current affairs are important, very important part, but at the same time, they are not the sole factor that is going to decide your selection. Specifically in prelims, if I talk about 60 to 70% of the things will be from the static aspects only. Similarly in mains, if you are studious enough, if you have made your notes based on your syllabus and previous year question themes, maybe 1 or 2 bouncers will be there, and that will be there for everyone, right? It's not something that you cannot prepare for. So there was this question, say, in ancient art and culture, relevance of bull and lion maybe in Indian art and architecture. So obviously these animals you cannot prepare. But again, this is the bouncer for everyone. उससे रैंक कम नहीं होगी. Similarly, Bose Einstein hypothesis पूछ लिया आपसे, तो it will not impact your rank per se. ठीक है? So you have to understand, first thing that you have to understand is the understanding of the examination. And that will only come when you understand the syllabus. Otherwise, you will give a lot of time for things that are not required for this examination. I have seen people doing PhDs. And that's why this 1 year plan actually goes on for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Restrict yourself, reverse engineer if you want to, right? First, restrict yourself. If there are some gaps, then you fill those gaps very organically. It should not be like that, I don't know the syllabus, कुछ भी आ सकता है तो मैं कुछ भी पढ़ूंगा. No. If you analyze even the most dynamic aspect, that is economics, उसमें भी suppose there are 7-8 questions every year, you can easily predict 3 to 4 questions. Inclusive growth है, food processing industry है, there are some topics that are recurring. Governance में you have self-help group, you have citizen charters, you have good governance. Around these topics only they are going to frame the syllabus. Then comes your analytical skills. If you have read an article, you should be able to at least understand the crux of the article, and then maybe make one line note, one key idea that is missing from your notes. That's all. 1 hour is very much important. Someone is saying 1 hour on newspapers. If you are doing this, you are on track, right? Newspaper is very important. I'm not asking you to leave the newspapers. Newspaper is very important. It is a skill that you will need when you are actually on the field as well. Anyone who has achieved great in life actually are aware about their surroundings, and it is a job as an administrator to be aware. So newspaper एक habit होनी चाहिए आपकी, right? That is true. But over emphasis on newspapers. I have seen some papers, sir, वो हिंदू पढ़े, इंडियन एक्सप्रेस पढ़े, कभी-कभी कुछ लोग मिंट भी उठा ले रहे हैं, right? That should not be the case. You stick to one newspaper, and you should know, when you know the syllabus, you will understand, okay, drones in internal security is a recent event जो बार-बार हो रहा है. So it becomes important for my internal security topic. Terrorism, left-wing extremism, these are obviously, if you analyze previous questions, these are recurring topics. So you have to first focus on these parts. So जो lowest hanging fruits हैं, first you plug them, then you go and chase around other things. ठीक है? So always remember that. Third thing is, the major thing, the major sin that people commit is going with the flow. Again, a blunder on your part, because going with the flow means आज optional पढ़ना है तो GS उठा के बैठ गए, आज पॉलिटी पढ़ना था, टफ लग रहा था पॉलिटी तो एथिक्स लेके बैठ गए. इस तरह से you have everything on your plate and you are not able to digest anything, right? तो प्लेट में उतना ही खाना रखना है जितना डाइजेस्ट हो जाए. सिमिलरली अपने शेड्यूल में वही रखना है जो आप पढ़ सको और रिवाइज कर सको, राइट? सो आई विल कम टू व्हाट daily schedule should look like in the end, but at the same time you have to understand, you should have a plan. You should know if I'm starting with polity, how much time I'm going to need it. I know there will be plus minus 4-5 days, that's okay, but it should not first of all have this broad plan कि 3 महीने polity पढ़ते हैं, right? Because you have to cover various aspects of the syllabus, उनको revise भी करना है. So maybe you will give, if you are just starting from scratch, you will need 1 month for polity, right? उसके बाद you have to go through iterative increments. Improvement iterative होगा उसके बाद. It should not happen कि मैंने 3 महीने पहले पॉलिटी ही लगा दी है, फिर 3 महीने मैंने इकोनॉमी में लगा दिया, फिर 3 महीने मैंने ज्योग्राफी में लगा दिया, फिर जब तक टाइम आया तो मैंने कोई पेरिफेरल सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा ही नहीं. ठीक है? So make a plan for yourself. I'll also give a plan for you, but at the same time, every student is different. Everyone is at different level of preparation, so you know your strengths better. But keep in mind, you have to have a plan with yourself. Again, plans, I know they will fail, they are bound to fail, but at the same time it will give you some clarity for next whatever time you have, right? कि हो सकता है पॉलिटी 100% नहीं हुआ, 80% तो हुआ, आपने कुछ टेस्ट तो लिखे, उसको रिवीजन तो हुआ 3 बार, right? I'll come to that in the very end. Okay, Sajmeri, this is the third thing that you have to be aware. Fourth thing and most important thing here is information, content, advice, everything is there, right? Don't, after this session, if you want to take some things, take it. Otherwise, whatever you feel like, make a plan for yourself and stick to it. कल शक्ति दुबे आके कुछ बोलेगी, ऐसा नहीं अपनी पूरा प्लान चेंज कर देना है, या कोई और कुछ भी बोले, even myself, I don't care. You stick to a plan, you execute that plan. बुरा प्लान है तो भी आपका होना चाहिए, उससे सीखो. But you cannot go on and on and on about changing your plans or changing your sources, right? अभी right now we are in this Netflix generation. We just want to consume. तो कभी PDF collect कर रहे हैं, कभी resources collect कर रहे हैं, कभी lectures को एक binge watch कर रहे हैं. I have seen students, we give them some targets and they say I'm right now watching these lectures. Something that should go in your brain very slowly and you are just pushing it 3-4 lectures a day, 2 lectures, 3 lectures a day without even practicing. There is no point. Lectures say what will happen, you will have grunts, very bulky notes with yourself without actually consolidating them, without actually revising them, right? So lectures, maybe maximum 1 lecture per day is more than enough for a particular subject. If you are having option, maybe you will need 1 lecture for that. But other than that, it should not happen कि एक साथ मैंने 10 lectures देख दिए. It is your waste of time, utter waste of time. Humans learn by making mistakes. Do you agree with this? People, how many of you remember कि मान लो suppose you have given some exam कि वहां पे वो गलती हुई थी, boards में ये गलती हो गई थी मुझसे. People tend to remember that. Why? Because you have committed a mistake and then it sticks with you. And when you binge watch your lectures or you just scroll through all the PDFs or all the notes that you have, you're not actually actively involved in that process. So solution is be actively involved. If you're reading something, close the book, try to recall that. If you have read an article, try to write in your own words, right? Summarize for yourself. If there is an article on drone technology in India, you should have at least, I'm not saying take whole article with you. Even 2 ideas will do. And that should go down in your notes. We are not chitty here. No one is a supercomputer, right? So idea is you will write it down, you will revise it multiple times, and then only you will be able to use it. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. Okay? So don't binge watch lectures, or again, there's a habit of endless note making. How many of you do that? कि notes बना लेते पहले, पढ़ेंगे बाद में. Please be honest. Online students, anyone? ये habit नहीं करनी है, right? Don't fall into this trap कि I'll just make notes endlessly. पहले notes बना लूं, फिर consolidate करूंगा, फिर पढ़ूंगा, फिर revise करूंगा, शायद अगले साल test लिखूंगा. And that will actually happen, अगले साल ही लिखोगे फिर. ठीक है? So idea is you give yourself a target for a week, you read whatever you want to, you make your notes, and then you revise it on the 7th day. Maybe on the 8th day, you come and write a test. That's how it will be embedded in your brain. Otherwise, again, you will read, and at the end, maybe you started with polity, then you read economy, then you read geography, then you read sociology, then you read prelims ka stuff, then you actually, by God's grace, you cleared prelims, and then for mains, you are not remembering anything. वो एक साल पहले पढ़ी थी चीजें. Oh yeah, this is very normal. 80% of the students do these same mistakes. कितना भी मैं चला लूं, I know 80% of you still will do the same mistakes. क्योंकि we are living in that consumerist market. हमें लेना है और चीजें. ये इसका भी सुन ले, उसका भी सुन ले, उसका भी ले ले, it doesn't make any sense, right? Now, again, I have covered this part. Don't be just a smart worker कि बस ये important चीजें हैं यही पढ़ लूंगा, और be just a hard worker कि बस सिर्फ hard work करता रहूंगा, और I'll not look at previous year questions, I'll not look at topics copies. Ego अपना बड़ा नहीं रखना है, ठीक है? Now everything beats in this examination. Consistency beats everything. If you are a very smart guy with an IQ of 200, I don't know, maybe you are, but it will not help you crack this examination. It is more about the discipline and consistency, right? And this is the challenge of this examination, because you have 18 months. Humans are not good at, again, keeping themselves in particular state, right? वो entropy फैलती. So this is the challenge. So you have to devise systems around yourself so that you are consistent, you are accountable, you are revising regularly, you are writing regularly, you are taking the feedbacks regularly. If you are not doing any of these particular part of the system will fall. अगर सिर्फ आंसर लिखा और उसको एनालाइज नहीं किया, रिवाइज नहीं किया, it will fall. सिर्फ रिवीजन कर रहे हो और लिख नहीं रहे हो, then again you are bound to fail. So idea is you have to develop a system for yourself that will actually work only when you are following it regularly and consistently. How many of you are consistent in your preparation? रोज 8 to 9 hours at least self study you are doing. If you are having classes, that's other thing, but at least 9 hours of study नहीं हो रही है ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स? देखो अब ये दिस इज आई डोंट नो बट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, मैंने इसीलिए वो फिगर्स दी थी आपको शुरू में, राइट? Even if you are having classes, you should take out 6 hours for your studies, 6 to 7 hours, even with your classes. If your classes of optional are going on, GS is going on, but even then, you have to give those number of hours. Because if you are not giving, someone else is giving that much. ठीक है? This is a competitive examination. ये बैंक पीयू का नहीं है कि 3-4 महीने अचानक से बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ लेंगे और हो जाएगा. ठीक है? वो भी नहीं होता आजकल. ठीक है? तो प्लीज मेक श्योर फॉर नेक्स्ट ईयर, चाहे कुछ फैंसी करो ना करो, बी कंसिस्टेंट. You should start with 8 to 9 hours, and if you can do that for next 18 months, you are all set. Maybe at times during prelims or mains you need to increase that, but that's okay. Other than that, बस इतना ही फॉलो करना है. ठीक है? चलो. So always start for the right reasons, understand your examination, plan your strategy, and don't be a perfectionist, right? You have to include revisions and tracking regularly. How many times you are revising? Suppose in 7 days you are reading for 6 days. Are you revising at the end, or at least daily or weekly or fortnightly basis? What's your pattern of revision? Daily, weekly हो रहा है? Monthly भी हो रहा है? ठीक है. What about others? क्लासेस अगर शुरू हो गई हैं या कुछ भी पढ़ाई करी है तो कैसे रिवीजन करते हो? ये रिवीजन बिल्कुल नहीं कर रहे अभी? संडेज एक, इफ यू आर डूइंग फाउंडेशन, नो, मेक इट अ हैबिट. जस्ट व्हेन योर क्लास गेट्स ओवर, मेक अ समरी नोट्स फॉर योरसेल्फ. सपोज मनोचा सर इज टीचिंग, जब आप पढ़ रहे होगे तो हवाएं चल रही होंगी, अच्छा लग रहा है, लेकिन वो 1 साल बाद हवाएं चली जाएंगी. अगर इफ यू हैव नॉट कंपाइल्ड दोज नोट्स एंड कंसाइज दोज नोट्स, suppose Manocha sir will take around 15-20 classes, so you should have 1 or 2 page notes for every class so that you can revise it frequently, right? This is for every subject, and make it a habit. Whatever you are reading, you have to take notes and revise it. Anyone who has completed the foundation? 6 महीने हो गए किसी को? 6 महीने से ज्यादा? कितनी बार रिवीजन हुआ है अभी तक क्लासेस का? बी ऑनेस्ट, कोई बात नहीं. अब मान लो पॉलिटी जो चीज फंडामेंटल राइट शुरू में पढ़ी होगी, लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़े, मतलब जो पढ़ रहे हो, मान लो क्लासेस में मेंस, मान लो पार्लियामेंट पढ़ाया, जो भी पढ़ाया, अब वो 6 महीने पहले जो पढ़ाया था वो याद है? ठीक है, आई विल टेक योर वर्ड. हाँ,
on a broader view, you know, but if someone gives us this, then it's
देखो, there are 2 aspects to this. You must have your mentors in classroom as well. Go meet them. They will help you with that. But as far as my limited understanding is, there are 2 ways to this. First, follow whatever is there in the class, and at least make sure, suppose they have taught you about parliament, तो वो लक्ष्मीकांत से भी हो जाना चाहिए, वो मेंस पर्सपेक्टिव से भी हो जाना चाहिए. And you should have written some test around it. Test नहीं भी होता, previous year लिखो, right? So you have a solid understanding of that particular topic. क्योंकि अब पार्लियामेंट एक बार हो गया, वो दोबारा नहीं होने वाला. Yes. Yes.
So like it is more of round question.
एक एग्जांपल दो मुझे.
For example, in specific case, I can give one question related to two rivers that was asking about the comparison between parliamentary and presidential form of government.
Hmm.
But sir, when I see the notes, I know this is the broader country. But what all to be put in those two pages? That is the major.
That will only happen.
Writing
देखो, it's a chicken and egg problem. आपको लगेगा कि पहले ही हो जाए फिर मैं वो करूंगा. You have to do it. वो चाहे नहीं भी आ रहा है, you have to go at least make sure maybe you use ChatGPT only. You have to make sure for that topic my notes are there now, or at least I know I'm going to read this, or this is at least for now something I have with me. Otherwise वो टेस्ट आते रहेंगे, क्लासेस जाते रहेंगे, and you not consolidate anything. So I practically suggest one thing to you. Follow the classes that is going on, but parallelly you take up any subject. Parallelly you try to take up any subject that you like, any subject that you're comfortable in, so that you are also wrapping up simultaneously at least 50, 60, 70% part of it. Also you have yellow books with you, right? So yellow books are there, so at least वो वाला part तो मैं कंटिन्यू कर लूं, खत्म कर लूं, और हो सकेगा तो actually it will help in your classes as well. You will raise valid doubts. अच्छे क्वेश्चंस पूछोगे आप क्लास में. So come prepared. It should not happen कि teacher is spoon feeding you. Don't be like that कि सर ने पढ़ाऊंगा तभी मैं पढ़ूंगा. There are sources that are given to you. You read that. You revise that. और कुछ भी नहीं तो क्लास नोट्स पे अच्छी कमांड करनी है तब तक. You have to revise it multiple times. You have to revise your yellow book multiple times so that जितना हो गया at least that much is sorted. And again, suppose someone is struggling in polity, someone is struggling in economy, current affairs will give you all the analytical things that you are in requirement of that, right? That is there. If you are reading current affairs regularly, it will ease your pain, right? So whenever there is a topic in current affairs, don't wait for that to be covered in class. Try to make some micro notes out of it. Right now, things are very easy. You just ask ChatGPT, at least give me some idea about this. Suppose you have basic structure doctrine, or suppose she said judicial activism. So at least you should make an intro for yourself. Okay, this is how I'm going to begin my answer about basic structure doctrine. This is the significance of the doctrine. There's nothing like you will not understand. If you don't understand, make it a note कि I'll ask this in class, right? तो आपके doubts भी better होंगे. And again, those brainstorming sessions that you are going to have with yourself will actually help you in mains as well as in prelims, right? Voting है, अब legal right है, constitutional right है, वो better question पूछोगे ना आप सिर्फ ये नहीं सुनोगे as a passive listener what teacher is teaching you, right? So make this a habit. All right. So what I can suggest to you, obviously you have to revise and track. Make a sheet for yourself. Suppose I have this polity, you can break it down 1 to 10 chapters, 10 to 20 chapters, 20 to 30 chapters, whatever, or at least a topic wise, main topic or whatever. If you have completed your particular subject, and even online students, if you're not taking say classroom program and you are doing self-study, if you are done with polity, make sure you are writing it down. Okay, I have revised it one time. This is the score of my test one. These are the learnings of my test one. Similarly, second revision, test, and then learning. So this kind of Excel, whatever, I can give you a number of things, but idea is something that suits you. Maybe polity revision 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, and then test. Whatever works for you, right? So idea is you track your revisions. First, you plan your revisions. You'll know कि okay, अभी मैंने polity करा, next month मैं economy करूंगा, but I'll revise my polity again. I'll give 1 hour in next month, and then I'll revise whatever I have learned before. It's like running a company. जब company नई होती है तो there is a lot of R&D going on, right? जब जैसे जैसे company establish हो जाती है, they have their processes. तो maintenance में जाता है time. This is the maintenance for you. You revise whatever you have read earlier. Make sure, doesn't matter if you are in classroom, you have to revise last class before coming for the next one. ठीक है. Similarly, you can do that for weekly basis. And again, synopsis notes or short notes that you are making will help you. And again, someone who is saying कि सर नहीं हो पाता, तो समझो ये बात को, this is the challenge of the examination. This is like a ocean, बहुत बड़ा समंदर है, and you have to know कैसे बांधना है इसे. And note making, revisions are the only tools that you have in front of you, right? If you have good compilation with you, like yellow book or maybe some orange books or something, whatever it is, you have to revise it multiple times, and then obviously you have to make notes as well. Okay? Anyone who is not clear till now? Any confusion? समझ आया? ठीक है. अब इसके लिए I told you earlier as well, you have to have weekly tests so that you are checking yourself regularly. It should not happen कि when I'll give the prelims, I'll get to understand, अरे यार मेरा ये वाला टॉपिक अच्छा नहीं तैयार था. When you are giving mains, you will think, यार ethics अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ा, यार ऐसे I have not practiced enough, right? Not first revision, Amit. Notes should never be made in the first revision itself. वो हर चीज important लगेगी वरना, ठीक है? So thing is, you have a week with you. Don't be in autopilot mode. Even if you are in classroom, don't be in autopilot mode कि जहां जा रहा है वहां जाता जा रहा है. You have to have some control in your head कि मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा तो at least I can do this much, है ना? और नहीं समझ आएगा तो I'll write it down. What's the issue? It's not like I have paid this much amount तो मैं सारी चीजें सर से ही पहले सर ही बताएंगे मुझे, right? उतना बनिया नहीं होना है. Idea is you prepare the topic in advance. If there are any doubts, and this is how learning should be, right? Our Indian education system is थोड़ा सा वैसा है और mindset हम लोग वैसा है. वहां पे क्या होता है, कहीं अच्छे colleges में you have discussion classes. You prepare, they will give you a reading, supplementary reading. आप ये पढ़ के आओ, इसके बाद we'll discuss whatever is there. उससे you will get to understand things better. Even if you do not have test, Prashant, you have previous year questions with you. When I'm saying test, I'm asking you to write or practice. This is something that you can do, right? So regular weekly testing. So at the start of the week, give yourself a target. I don't care what that target is. Maybe just 10 chapters of polity, of 2 chapters of polity for that matter. Give yourself a target. Read it, revise it, and then at the end try to solve questions or tests around it, right? If you do not have tests, you have toppers copies. Take out toppers copies. जो उन्होंने questions answer करे, try to do it yourself, and then actually compare where I lacked, how I could have written this better. क्यों शक्ति ने अच्छा स्कोर किया ethics में? Because she is able to interlink the topics, interlink the subjects as well. Ethics में she is quoting Supreme Court cases. In society, she is quoting Gandhi's 7 sins, right? That practices, those practices you will learn when you are actually learning from the best. So toppers copies should be your friend. Every day I'll say, go through some 4 or 5 answers of a topper who has scored good in that particular subject. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि शक्ति has topped in UPSC तो essay भी देख लिया. Again, she is decent enough in essay, but again, there are people who has done better. So उसको उस पे नहीं लेना है, ठीक है? So idea is you commit for a week, you plan ahead, and then you execute. If you have someone with you who can give the reviews, if you are in foundation, you have mentors at 4th floor. In fledgling also, they have particular mentors. If you are part of, say, Step Up, you have your mentors. If you are, again, anywhere, and you can find a good mentor, good mentor is who can actually be there with you. It's not like once in a while, once in a full moon, they will come, okay, ये गलत कर रहे हो, ये सही कर रहे हो, वो नहीं होगा, right? They don't know what you are doing. So idea is उससे feedback लो, और अगर वो भी नहीं कर सकते, at least you can compare with the toppers. Try to make notes around it. कि ये मैंने अच्छा नहीं किया, introductions मेरे बड़े थे, I did not substantiate my point. Why Shakti used to substantiate every single point. Idea is not substantiating every point. There are toppers who will substantiate only 5 points, but they got 150 rank. So the more you do, the rank improves. But पहले list में आना है. That should be the first target. Then you improve from there. ठीक है? So do this, do the weekly test and maintain a error log sheet. What do I mean by error log sheet? Anyone who has at least try to attempt prelims paper, even if you have not given that in actual exam. Anyone? ठीक है, कितना स्कोर आया? ओके, 50 में 19 सही हुआ, ठीक है। एनीवन एल्स? अमित, आर्यन, पूरा पेपर अटेम्प्ट किया है आप लोगों ने? हैव यू अटेम्प्टेड ऑल द क्वेश्चंस? एक बार ट्राई करना, just to get an idea where you are in your preparation. You try to attempt a particular paper, even by your basic knowledge, if you are well aware how much you can actually score, and try to do an analysis, and that practice you should follow whenever you are going to give the test. Suppose you are attempting 2024 paper, so suppose 15 questions were there from polity. Now people will come and say, sir, mera 2-3 baar se prelims mein, I've seen people. And why that happens is they attempt a lot of mocks sometimes. It's not that they're not hardworking, but they are not using the smartness there. You have to analyze your mistakes. Be it prelims, be it mains, you have to analyze your mistakes. So, polity may suppose I marked 5 correct and 10 incorrect. So, first analyze why those 10 were incorrect. Whether it was because of my lack of revision, whether it was lack of silly mistakes, whether I don't know the data or a fact or concept clarity ही नहीं है, पता है but clarity नहीं है. Do these kinds of analysis from the very beginning. It will actually help you in the long run. अगर एक बार habit पड़ गई तो you will analyze your test. Otherwise people give the test और फिर भूल जाते हैं कि टेस्ट दिया था, और फिर उसमें से अगर क्वेश्चन भी आ जाएगा तो भी you will not be able to do it correctly. ठीक है? So make it a habit. So maintain, first plan and then execute, and then yes, suppose Jitika, you know कि मेरा revision की वजह से I'm not able to mark 5 questions correctly, so obviously you have to revise more. अब revision कैसे ज्यादा होगा? That you have to concise your notes, and then you have to revise multiple times, or if you can find some good compilation that is shorter one और अच्छी भी है तो revise it multiple times. Sometimes toppers have actually shared their notes very graciously. At least that can be a starting point, right? If you are low on time, but right now you are going for 2027, you will have enough time. Okay? But idea is this should reduce. I'm not talking about it will reduce in day or a month, but the graph should go downwards. कि पहली बार silly mistakes मेरे 5 करी थी, next time maybe 4 ही होंगी. On the final delay, एक आध तो तब भी हो गया, I know, but at least we have to minimize that. Similarly for mains, when you start writing, you will write the worst answers, right? It's not a secret. जब किसी ने पहली बार क्रिकेट खेलना शुरू किया होगा, सचिन जैसे भी, वो भी आउट ही होंगे, right? So you will also fail, but the idea is you fail as much as you can before your mains examination. और वो failure तभी होगा when you actually have the courage to do it. Maybe every day, every week you are practicing something. If you cannot do anything, at least practice one previous question daily, even if it's not covered in the class, right? You ask, if you know it, you have the clarity. If you don't know it, ask your friend ChatGPT. At least I'll make sure कि अब judicial activism से मेरे पास ये 5 cases हैं, मेरे पास ये definition, ये introduction में लिख सकता हूँ. ठीक है, that is okay. You are just starting, Anjali, then don't worry about it. But idea is you can have X number of things, right? You start from there. That's not an issue. ठीक है, I hope you will do this. And now let's come to the thing of how to start, right? So first thing is obviously go through syllabus first of all. After this session, I want every one of you to take a copy of syllabus. Whenever you are coming to class, at least glance through the syllabus and then try to map it out in newspapers. What is it that relates to my particular subject, right? अब internal security में मुझे पता है कि border challenges, border management, left wing extremism, right? Cyber security, all these things are recurring topics. वो दिया है, but again अब newspaper में कोई नया चीज आ गई, integrated theta command पे कुछ आ गया, तो yes, it becomes important for me. So at least I should have a topic. Okay, I have to prepare that. Okay? And again, there are some subjects where you do not need much. You can start preparing even now, right? At least some thematic notes you can start preparing now if you have time. So first, understand the subject. Always, even if you cannot do anything else, you can read newspapers. You can start with your newspaper. It will give you a solid platform to actually go through when you are actually completing your syllabus or revising a particular thing. You will link the dots. This is the bare minimum thing that you can do. Then, as some of you said, you can start with any NCRTs, any standard books. I hope all of you must know. Okay, maybe you do not have yellow books, but at least you will have Lakshmikant with you. You have your spectrum with you, whatever is there. So you start reading that. Why you are waiting for the teacher to come and explain and spoon feed you everything, right? Now, then you plan yourself for revisions, weekly testing, error logs, and feedback loops. Okay? Always remember this. This journey will be, again, 1,000 miles will be there, but you have to start from somewhere. Okay? This, you can take a screenshot if you want. You write with your own hands and stick it in front of you wherever you are studying. Execution is much, much, much important, much effective than all the resources combined, all the money that you are putting in, all the smartness that you are putting in, everything, right? Don't take anything that you cannot execute, right? So execution is the key. Okay? So whatever I am telling you, I know many things will fail, and this is again a very one of my favorite quotes. So in preparing for a battle, I have always found that plans are useless. I know this, and this is US 34th president Eisenhower said this. Plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Right? What do I mean by this is, what does he mean by this is, the mindset that you will inculcate, the clarity that you will form once you are starting to plan, once you think through, okay, this is how I'm going to write answers. This is how I'm going to structure my introductions, my conclusion, my body. These kinds of diagrams I can include in internal security, right? That thing will always help you, right? And it will give you a direction as well. Okay? Now, always remember, everyone is at different level of preparation. So you have to go phase wise. If someone has already graduated out of phases, suppose someone is done with their NCRTs, they are done with the standard textbooks. So obviously they can move to phase 2, given that they have given enough number of tests around it and they have secured decent enough marks. Okay? Don't think like I'm very good in polity because I have read Lakshmikant. It doesn't work that way. You have to apply it in the form of tests, and then you have to see whether what you are thinking in your head is actually right or not. Okay? So make sure you'll obviously go for integrated preparation, but focus should be on tackling important subjects, the foundation subjects that I call. Suppose you start with economy, you start with modern history, even you can reduce modern history, you can start with geography, or you can start with economics. First, try to get hold of these subjects. Okay? I know your classes must be going on for many of you, but as a side project, even 1 hour per day, it will give you a base. Because what will happen is, I'll be very frank with you, you are getting one of the best teachers in the world. I know that. But at the same time, there is a limitation that is there. Your classes will end in March, April, right? You have your prelims examination in May and or maximum first week of June. It will not give you enough time to revise. And that is the reason, and people then blame ki sir coaching late khatam hui. No one told you ki you have to wait till the very end. Right? Ideal thing would be to start if you are in second year or first year. That is ideal, so that you have time with you. But if you do not have time with you, agar aapne college mein masti kar li hai, to aap padho. Right? So idea is, give yourself something to fight for. And that will only happen when you are revising your notes regularly, even your foundation notes, along with your yellow books and your current affairs. That will also give you a very good platform. Okay? But usme please include your previous year questions and your toppers copies for mains. ठीक है? Similarly, you can go to the second phase, that is the integrating phase. Once you are done with polity, then you can move on to governance. Once you are done with economy, you can move on to other aspects of internal security and things like that, right? But you have to start from there. And in the second phase, once, obviously, I'm asking you to write answers from day 14th, I guess. Once you are done, you write answers, you start writing previous year questions. But in second phase, the focus will shift back to writing more, revising more, because you have already covered 4 or 5 subjects. You can again include ethics in that as well, right? There is nothing in ethics that you will not understand by yourself as well. ठीक है? Emotional intelligence क्या होता है? Even if you are not preparing for UPSC, emotionally थोड़ा सा intelligent, right? At least this much you will know. अब क्यों ये important है? मेरी फैमिली में रिलेशंस अच्छे होंगे, मेरे स्टूडेंट्स से रिलेशंस अच्छे होंगे, मेरे प्रोफेशनल रिलेशंस अच्छे होंगे, आई विल बी एबल टू मैनेज कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स बेटर, राइट? No teacher, again, teachers will add value, a lot of value, but at the same time, basics you will know. And when you analyze previous year questions, you will get to understand. And many people do this after a long gap, right? कि 1-2 साल निकल जाते हैं, फिर याद आता है सर मैंने प्रीवियस ईयर नहीं लगाए हैं, and that's a blunder, because that is the only key the UPSC has given you, syllabus and previous year questions. ठीक है? तो make this a habit. In the phase second, that again may go from May to November or December, you will write answers rigorously, full length, half length, whatever is there. Okay? You will revise multiple times. So emphasis will be on integration and revision and learning from the mistakes, obviously. Then you will migrate to third phase, that is prelims exclusive phase, where obviously you will practice around prelims, you will give a lot of tests, you will solve the previous year questions. But I'll say one more thing to you. Don't break the momentum, right? I have seen students preparing for prelims for 6 months. People do that. कि November से ही prelims start कर दिया. And I'm not talking just about the classroom students. I'm talking someone who has given prelims because of phobia. It is human tendency. एक बार fail हो गया, prelims में तो fail नहीं होना है. So that fear kicks in. फिर वो नवंबर से स्टार्ट हो जाता है. अब उसका इशू क्या है? There is a you understand Chakravyuh? How many of you understand Chakravyuh? So in UPSC, there's this Chakravyuh of, if you're not prepared, as I told you, suppose this is prelims, this is mains, and this is your interview, right? If you're not prepared for mains and you go into prelims and you are smart, because why I'm using smart is I have seen people with very little effort, if they are good in aptitude, if they have done their classrooms very rigorously, they have revised, they will clear the prelims. There is no issue in that. Issue will come in mains. If you have not written the answers, if they do not have the notes or they have not revised it, अगर फिर भी अच्छे हुए, maybe you are from DU, बहुत अच्छे essays लिखते हो, बहुत अच्छे answers लिखते हो, maybe you will get through, but again you will not get the rank. अब इसमें क्या होता है? Again, you are maybe 30 marks short, 20 marks short, 10 marks short, doesn't matter. You have to go back to prelims again. But now again you are not prepared because आपका इंटरव्यू का रिजल्ट ही 24 अप्रैल को आया, मई में फिर से एग्जाम था, तो maybe you again clear the prelims, you will again sit for mains, and this cycle repeats specifically for those who are smart enough, right? So don't be that smart. पहले पता होना चाहिए कि this is not I'm prepared for. So this is the main target. Always remember this. ठीक है? Tahira, I'll come to that. ठीक है? So make sure you have understood the phases properly. In the first phase, you will do the foundational subjects along with whatever you are doing, right? Shagun, first thing is, Shagun is asking, so union government sets goal to formally recognize 1 lakh tribal healers as partners in healthcare. Have you read about this news? Okay. So is this kind of news important? Right. So Shagun, what you should understand is, first is tribals. What is the status of tribals, right? And this you will understand when you have gone through previous questions only. So what are the policies the government has taken after independence regarding tribal welfare? What are the government schemes regarding that, right? What is the development debate that is there, right? Environmental impact assessment, social impact assessment. These topics you should understand at the broad level. So even this practice can be quoted as a case study or as an example in your governance aspects. But again, just this information will not give you anything. So you have to link it to the themes of the syllabus. I had a session, I think a month back or a 2 month back, where I have discussed exclusively this aspect, how to read newspapers and how to again connect that to your syllabus. If you want better clarity on that, you can go through that video, or in future as well, I'll try to come up with that. But for now, you should understand this much. So yes, so suppose you start any particular subject. So this is your to-do list. You will understand the syllabus of that particular subject. You will also go through some previous year questions to get an idea. Suppose I'm starting with governance, right? So once I have done that, I'll say, okay, good governance. First thing is policy making is an important theme and a role of policy making. Where do we stand right now after 78 years of independence? What are the issues in our policy making? Then what is good governance? Then you have health, education, social sector. What are the issues in health, education, and social sector, skill development, and all those things. Then you have basically self-help group, microfinance institutions. Similarly, you have NGOs, pressure groups, right? So you have your themes with you. Now you start the preparation. You take any standard book, any yellow book for that matter, right? And you read it. You read it the first time. Second time, you will highlight it. Third time, you will take out some notes, right? This is how you have to start. If there are still any gaps, use Google for now. If your classes are already done, that must be covered in classes. If that is not still covered, use your ChatGPT or Google. ChatGPT is a better tool now. So at least try to fill these gaps. Okay? I'm not asking you to be a perfectionist right now. कि ऐसा नहीं है सबसे अच्छा कंटेंट होना चाहिए, but you should have something. Ideally, for any topic, 2 to 3 pages should be there. ठीक है? इसके बाद you are making the notes. You will revise it. You will revise it multiple times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, as much as possible. So if I have to tell you a figure, before January, at least try to read something 5 times. 1 time between even your prelims phase. January to March, April, you will revise something because you have already revised something 5 times. So yes, it is doable. And then during mains, 3 to 4 iterations are important. And when I'm saying revising, what I mean is first reading you have done. In second reading, you have highlighted. In third reading, you have taken notes. In the fourth reading, you have underlined those notes itself. Maybe some test papers, model answers are given. You have integrated that, right? This is an exercise. So you have to prepare these short notes. And at the end, you will have your 1-pager notes, right? At the end, this is the end product. 1-pager should not be the beginning. Otherwise, you lack the analytical things that are required to answer a particular question, right? Then you, again, this is a parallel thing. You attempt previous year questions and you read toppers copies. And toppers copies, again, you have to read very smartly. There are many things because, again, things repeat, right? History repeats itself. So 50-60% of the questions will be there in previous year papers. So toppers have written around it. Suppose topper like Shruti Sharma has written all the previous year questions on science and tech. So you will understand, okay, nanotechnology का कैसे use हो सकता है health में, agriculture में. They have already done that. So at least you can do that much even when your classes are going on. right? So at least whenever Vinod sir is going to take that, I'll know, okay, these are some of the important points that I can write in my answer, right? So toppers copies can actually serve as a very good tool for your content as well. You will find very good case studies, very good examples, very good data, right, from toppers copies itself that you can include in your notes. But again, you have to go back here and revise it, so that again, notes are like that. In the very first time, you will think, okay, it is good. But when you see the toppers copy, you will see, no, it is not enough. I have to upgrade it. And that is how it should be. Right now, whatever things you have learned, it is good. But after 18 months, you will think, no, no, it was easy enough. I should not have written this. ठीक है, तो वो refinement continuous process है. Is it audible? Okay. Right, so it's a continuous process. You can go to Telegram channels of various toppers. Even you have on Vajiram website, I guess, there are some toppers copies like Shakti Dubey copies have been shared, right? So you can go through that as well. So this is a regular practice that you have to do. Attempt previous questions, then attempt the test. Then from those tests or toppers copies, you have to add value. Okay, add value to your notes. This process will go on. Even when you are writing mains, before that 2 months, you will also integrate some good things. Obviously, in the last month, you just revise whatever you have in your notes so far. Okay. So what you need is obviously the quality content. You build around that, you do the revision, then you apply and experiment with it in the form of your answers. If you are talking about prelims, you devise a strategy for yourself. How many questions I'm going to attempt, which subjects are going to be my forte, right? And that will only happen when you are reading, revising, and applying in test. Okay? So that is there. Also keep learning, and feedback is important. If I told you this, if you are not taking feedback, you are shooting in the dark. You have to take the feedback. If I have to tell you a proper idea of next 6 months, so if someone is starting right now, I ask you to start with polity, right? Many people are comfortable in polity. You start with polity. You give 30 days to 40 days maximum for this subject, whatever you can do in that particular time period. Then you switch to economy or geography, whatever you feel like. So right now we are in January. So till end of February, you try to do that to the best possible abilities that you have. I'm not saying you will be the pro in that, but at least it will give you a very solid base. Then you start with geography, 30-40 days. अब geography के लिए क्या पढ़ना है? जो classes में पढ़ना है obviously, but anyway, irrespective of the classes, you have to read NCRTs of at least 11th, both 11th, some parts of 12th as well. But 11th is the most important part for your prelims preparation. Okay? So this much you can start. Maybe you will not understand a few things. Monsoon हो सकता है समझना है थोड़ा सा, but that you can leave for the classes. But something that you have to memorize. Suppose you have types of forests, right? तो वो एक बार अपने टेबल में बना लिया और उसको बार बार रिवाइज किया. इस पर्टिकुलर एवरग्रीन फॉरेस्ट में कौन कौन सी स्पीशीज होती हैं, राइट? सिमिलर थिंग यू कैन डू फॉर रिवर्स एज वेल. ठीक है? सो यू हैव समथिंग विद यू. देन यू गो ऑन टू हैव योर इकोनॉमी and then you have your ethics as well. So target should be for next 4 to 5 months, you try to do all these foundational subjects. And whenever you are doing that, make sure you are revising the previous ones. Okay? And ethics is something if again someone with not much classes, if you are finding time, you can start giving maybe 30 minutes every day. Maybe 30 minutes every day to ethics. If you have got your yellow books of ethics, you have got it, right? So you can start with that. Why I'm skipping history as of now? You can include modern history after this. So maybe ethics and modern history can go in parallel. But why I'm avoiding other histories for now? Because first thing is, you will definitely, again, many things will be covered in your classes. And medieval, ancient art and culture is one of those things where you have to revise multiple times. And there's huge, vast syllabus. And from mains perspective, you will not get enough ROI as of now. So focus should be on these foundation subjects. I'll come to you, Shashank. You have chosen someone, again, people from maths background, they face this issue. Anyone with maths background, a maths option? Maths option? How many hours are you studying? Acha. Okay. Mind you, whenever you are choosing these kinds of options, specifically maths or physics, it's a very good option. It will give you short marks. है ना? You may get 300, 330 marks. Subjectivity nahi hai wahan pe. But it does take a lot of time. You need to practice maths regularly. All the science options, right? So you need to practice it regularly. Kavyanjali will come to that, right? There's again whole class for that. So we'll come to that later. So idea is for these subjects, you will need to devote extra time. Someone from sociology or anthropology may do that in 3, 4, 5 hours. You have to do that for 7 hours, 8 hours. But again, there is a trade-off. Sociology mein you are never sure what they can ask, right? Constitutional morality have been asked in sociology. So there are so many things. But idea is start कब करना है? जितनी जल्दी हो सके प्रिंस, राइट? क्योंकि अब यही चीज है, टाइम तो जाएगा, कभी ना कभी यू हैव टू स्टार्ट. इफ यू स्टार्ट इन सितंबर, द ऑप्शनल विल एंड इन जनवरी, फरवरी. जीएस की क्लासेस भी हैं, ऑप्शनल भी है, और फिर 2 महीने बाद प्रीलिम्स है, तो चांसेस बिकम्स वेरी स्लिम. ठीक है, तो स्टार्ट एज अर्ली एज पॉसिबल इफ यू हैव चोजन योर ऑप्शनल. ठीक है, so that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. Now what's your daily schedule? How, if someone is having classes, what's your daily schedule looks like? कितने बजे उठते हो आप लोग? 6. ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद पढ़ाई का एक सेशन होता है क्लास से पहले. एक जना बताओ. ठीक है. कितने बजे? 7:30 से पहली क्लास 10 बजे तक मान लेते हैं. फिर उसके बाद 10 से 2 क्या करा? ठीक है. ऑप्शनल के बाद कितनी देर? ठीक है, 5:30 बज गए मान लेते हैं. फिर कुछ नहीं किया? 5:30 बजे कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो? देखो, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, क्लासेस सब करेंगे. मतलब आई मे बी हार्श हियर, आई एम सॉरी इफ आई ऑफेंड एनीवन, बट एवरीवन विल डू द क्लासेस. महापात्रा सर के ही स्टूडेंट होंगे जो वहां मेंस दे रहे होंगे सारे के सारे, राइट? बट इफ यू नॉट प्रैक्टिस, देखो आई अंडरस्टैंड कि टाइम कम है, बट टाइम इतना भी कम नहीं है कि हम 5:30 बजे तक ये लेके सो जाएं, right? That should not happen. So what I'll say is, देखो, again, what I'm going to suggest is subjective, but what I can tell you is you have to find ways even when you are wait. First of all, how many of you come early for the classes? कि क्लास 2 बजे है और मैं 1 बजे से आके लाइन में खड़ा हो गया. कौन है उनमें से? Why do you do that? You want the front row seat? All right, देखो, there are 2 aspects to this. ये मॉनिटर्स लगे हैं, राइट? यू विल गेट द क्लैरिटी. सेकेंड थिंग इज, इफ यू वांट टू आस्क डाउट्स, हाथ खड़ा कर चीख के बोलो, ठीक है? तो वो डाउट्स भी सॉल्व हो जाएंगे. बट यू नीड नॉट वेस्ट 2 hours फॉर 1 hour फॉर ऑप्शनल, 1 hour फॉर जीएस. इट डजंट मेक सेंस. तो प्लीज लीव दिस हैबिट. मेनी टॉपर्स आर ऑफन बैक बेंचेस, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. ठीक है? Then you have to understand one thing. Even when you are having a class, you should try to wrap up your newspapers in the very first thing in the morning. right? At least even when you're waiting, if you want front row seat only, at least have newspaper with you. You are reading that newspaper, and again you have a clarity of what is there, what is not. तो न्यूज़पेपर खत्म हो जाना चाहिए, ठीक है? Then suppose you started your optional, 5 बजे तक optional चला, but at least after that 2 hours you can give, even after 2 से 4 4:30 क्लास हुई, 2.5 hours आपने ऑप्शनल को दिया, 1 घंटा रिवाइज करने में लगना चाहिए, 1.5 घंटा ऐड करो वैल्यू, राइट? ट्राई टू ऐड वैल्यू इन योर ऑप्शनल पर से. और सिमिलरली फॉर जीएस, तो एटलीस्ट 2 to 3 hours slots should be given even when you are having classes. If you're not giving that much, तो वो थोड़ा प्रॉब्लमेटिक है. कितने घंटे सोते हो आप लोग? आप बताओ मुझे, आपका शेड्यूल क्या है? एक बार टाइम के साथ बताओ. तैयार होने में कितना टाइम लेते हो? 1.5 घंटा? नहीं, बात मतलब गंगा जी जाके थोड़ी, अच्छा पाठ कर रहे हो, फिर ठीक है, ठीक है. मुझे लगा मतलब बात गंगा जी जाके कर रहे हो क्या? हाँ ठीक है, कैरी ऑन. हाँ कोचिंग कितने बजे आए? सुबह से 7:30 से 11 तक पार्टी किया क्या बस? हाँ. कहाँ रहते हो? 20 मिनट भी 11:10-40 होता है, 11:15 तो वो भी नहीं होता. ठीक है, अच्छा चलो 10:15 तक क्या किया? 7 बजे उठे थे आप, 10:15 तक क्या किया? ठीक है चलो क्लास आ गए, फिर दो से 2.5 घंटे, ठीक है, दैट इज ओके. अगर इफ यू आर इंटीग्रेटिंग समथिंग तो दैट वर्क्स. ठीक है, कर रहे हो, ठीक है, परफेक्ट. ठीक है, ऑप्शनल चल रहा है अभी? ठीक है, ऑप्शनल चूज कर लिया है, हो गया है, ठीक है. देखो someone is saying कि sir I integrate a particular book with whatever I have covered in the class, that is well, that is not an issue. You are solving MCQs, that is also fine, but overall you should give enough time. The idea is that, ठीक है. तो at least 2 to 3 hours slot for your GS and optional. If you are not having classes, you prepare yourself and then maybe you are going to join later, that's okay, but give 2 slots for yes.
One hour for interview, maybe from newspaper or from the video. This is fixed, like 10 hours. Now, what you're trying to say is you should take one more slot or 2 3 hours.
आप मुझे बताओ, अभी भी 10 घंटे हुए हैं, we are left with 14 hours. बाकी 14 घंटे क्या कर रहे हो? 6 घंटे 7 घंटे सोना मान लेते हैं, बाकी 7 घंटे क्या कर रहे हो? I want to understand what you are doing.
Class that takes more time to go back.
चाय वाय पीने लग जाता है क्या बीच में ज्यादा? हाँ, I know, that's why I'm asking. I know this. So अब देखो इशू क्या है? So someone is saying, sir class is okay, but class के बाद study table पे पहुंचने में I'm taking some time. So make sure, maybe if you are joining a library, join a library just beside your class. कि क्लास के बाद कहीं और जाना ही नहीं है. I'll have a session of 1.5 hours. I'll revise my notes, तभी चाय पीने जाऊंगा मैं, ठीक है? So make some. I'm not here to advise on anything, but idea is you have to find the time, and you have time. I have seen people who still after class they are able to put in 7-8 hours. There has to be willingness on your part, right? वरना understand this, that figure of 10 lakh बहुत बेरोजगार देश है हमारा. They will find people with enough motivation to actually go and study for those number of hours required. Because there is a bare minimum, there is a threshold. After that only progress happens, right? If someone is there just revising 1 hour and thinking कि उसके बाद everything is done, no, everything is not done. Even जितने आपकी क्लास में स्टूडेंट है उतनी सीट नहीं है, right? तो you have to come out of that inertia कि चलता है वाला एटीट्यूड, वो नहीं होगा. You have to create time. Yes, please. Power nap लेना शुरू करो. What I'll say is, I know it is taxing. That's why after class, maybe just put your head down. If you are studying in library, 20 मिनट की पावर, मुंह धुल के पावर नैप ले लो, या पावर नैप लो मुंह धुल उठ के. पावर नैप एक्चुअली हेल्प्स. तो फिर से थोड़ा सा रीसेट हो जाता है. यू कैन पुश फॉर नेक्स्ट 3-4 आवर्स. चाय पीते हो, पिया करो. मतलब अगर नहीं पीते हो तो स्टार्ट, एटलीस्ट इट विल गिव यू दैट लेवल ऑफ एनर्जी. अगर आई डोंट नो अबाउट रेड बुल एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, है ना, बट यू हैव टू क्रिएट समथिंग फॉर योरसेल्फ. ठीक है. I know there are several aspects. If your memory is very sharp and if you are in fear कि मेरी memory कम हो जाएगी, I am sorry, but at the same time idea is it should not be the case कि I am exhausted, I am not able to study at all, right? That's what I am recommending. So idea is at least 4-5 hours you have to put down for subjects, optional and GS, then 1 hour for your current affairs. ठीक है. Then you have maybe when you are exhausted, try to solve previous year questions or test, right? I had a student, very brilliant student, अभी IPS है, उसका ये होता है, वो रात में पढ़ता था, सुबह 5-6 बजे होते होते he used to get very exhausted. तो उस टाइम पे he used to solve 1 paper daily, क्योंकि उसमें your mind is actively involved, तो फिर नींद चली जाती है, right? देखो, you have to train your brain. जितना डिस्कम्फर्ट में रहोगे उतनी आदत हो जाएगी, जितना कंफर्ट में रहोगे उसकी भी आदत हो जाएगी, है ना. तो कोशिश कर, आई एम नॉट आस्किंग यू टू ओवर एक्सर्ट. 6-7 घंटे की नींद लो, उसमें कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट. बट बाकी जो टाइम बचता है घूमने का, फिरने का, चाय का, पानी का, वो कम कर सकते हो. भगवान के लिए कम नहीं बोलूंगा, ठीक है, क्योंकि देयर आर सम थिंग्स दैट आर बियॉन्ड आवर कंट्रोल, है ना, वो ऊपर वाला ही है फिर. तो उसको करो, बट अगेन आफ्टर दैट यू कम बैक एट योर स्टडी टेबल. और उसमें भी आई विल से कि कितने लंबे सेशंस लेते हो आप लोग व्हेन यू आर स्टडीइंग एट वन स्ट्रेच? कितना? 3 घंटा. ओके. सो देखो, व्हेन आई एम सेइंग स्ट्रेच, व्हाट आई मीन इज व्हेन यू आर कंसंट्रेटेड. इट शुड नॉट हैपन कि 3 घंटा बैठे तो हैं, सोच रहे हैं शाहरुख खान के बारे में या किसी और के बारे में, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. सो आइडिया इज यू हैव, आई रिकमेंड कि 3 आवर्स के सेशन प्लान करो, but again this is personal preference only. 50 minutes each, right? इससे आपको थोड़ा सा exertion भी कम होता है. मतलब साइकोलॉजी के हिसाब से you cannot concentrate more than 20-25 minutes at one stretch. This is human psychology. If you can challenge that, I'm no one, है ना. वो आप अपने मैकेनिज्म को ज्यादा अच्छे से जानते हो, बट आइडिया इज या तो ये करो और 5 मिनट में मे बी यू लिसन टू सम म्यूजिक एंड देन गेट बैक, मे बी अ शॉर्ट वॉक, यहां से वहां तक 2 बार टहले. इट्स नॉट लाइक पूरे सेंट्रल पार्क का चक्कर लगाने चले गए कि फिर 2 घंटे चले जाएंगे, राइट? सो आइडिया इज यू हैव टू कीप योरसेल्फ फ्रेश एज वेल. तो इस तरह की चीजें ट्राई करो, इससे भी आपको हेल्प मिलेगी, है ना. इस तरह के फिर अगेन जब 3 घंटे हो गए, देन अगेन यू गो फॉर लंच, यू गो फॉर ब्रेकफास्ट, व्हाटएवर यू आर हैविंग. तो फिर उसके बाद मे बी पावर नैप, राइट, एंड देन यू कम बैक. ठीक है. अभी पूछो, कुछ और पूछना है तो. Not more than 1.5 hours at any cost. अच्छा. So student is asking, sir, how many months I have to focus when I'm going for current affairs? Right now, all of you are again going for 2027. So the day I'm having this session, focus should be I'm going to read the newspapers. यहाँ से end तक, और उसके बाद भी न्यूज़पेपर तो कांस्टेंट रहना चाहिए. Why? It's not कि questions आपको याद रहेंगे. It's beyond that. I know, suppose वाजीराम की टीम है अपनी, they will make very good current affairs जो आप अपने आप से नहीं बना सकते. That is true. But at the same time, the analytical abilities that you develop, the bouncer questions that they throw, the articulation and expression, introduction कैसे लिखना है, conclude कैसे करना है, all these things you learn how to coherently present your ideas. That is also an exercise, right? जब एक article लिखा जाता है, they work for so many hours, so many days, and then एक article आपके पास आता है. तो उसमें पिछले 20 साल की इंफॉर्मेशन होती है, राइट? इसलिए रीड न्यूज़पेपर्स. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि पूरे नोट्स अपने आप से बनाने हैं. ऑब्वियसली टीम इज डूइंग ग्रेट. आपके करंट अफेयर्स क्लासेस में जो हैंडआउट्स मिलेंगे वो बहुत अच्छे होंगे, बट एट द सेम टाइम मेक इट अ हैबिट, राइट? एंड अगेन इफ यू आर फॉलोइंग एनी मैगजीन दैट यू कैन फॉलो, मे बी अगेन आपने मैक्सिमम मान लो 1 घंटा आपने इसको दिया, तो मंथली बेसिस पे, और आई प्रायोरिटाइज 2-3 सब्जेक्ट्स: एनवायरमेंट, इकोनॉमिक्स, science and tech. This is something that maybe 10-15 pages will come in a monthly magazine on that particular topic that you can read. That is doable. Okay? Any other doubt? So this is something that I wanted to convey. Yes, you have to take out these many hours for your preparation of the core subjects, your GSN optional. Then you try to give at least 30 minutes per day. When I'm saying previous year questions, maybe one day you are going for prelims previous year questions, maybe next day you are going for mains previous year questions, maybe next day you are going for brainstorming of some questions. That is a miscellaneous exercise that you can do regularly based on your preferences. Okay? But again, whatever you are doing, make sure half an hour you are giving for the revision apart from whatever you are revising for your class. ठीक है? वो revision साथ साथ चलना चाहिए. Track your weekly, monthly targets. Track your. So मैंने Madhushri, I have told you, you can take breaks. 45-50 minutes का एक session रखो. You try to have a session of 45-50 minutes, and then you take a break of 5-10 minutes. Maybe you walk, maybe you have chai or tea, whatever you like, coffee, right? So this is it that you can do. And people also prefer yoga in the morning sometimes, right? So that those things also help. So this is something that you have to do. Again, just to summarize, never neglect your basics, right? If someone is not following at least the important NCERTs, like geography is very important as per me, right? Themes in Indian history for art and culture is very important, right? Again, these things will be fine arts and themes in Indian history. Similarly, you have your Lakshmikant. You'll see the previous questions and you'll see एक पेज में ही लक्ष्मीकांत के पार्लियामेंट से लगातार 3 क्वेश्चन आए. And again, this happens every year. ठीक है? Even in mains, you know, as I said, कि there are some topics that you can predict for yourself. कि every year they will be asking about food processing industry in one way or the other. Every year they're talking about nanotechnology, biotechnology, space-based missions, right? Similarly, terrorism, left-wing extremism, all those things are there. If you are again part of Vajiram, if you are part of Step Up, you will be getting smart current affairs classes, I hope. So even those notes are very important. Direct hits have been there, right? 38 direct questions were there from for prelims, and again 22 direct or theme-based questions were there for your mains. Finally, irrespective of whatever we have discussed, you have to think and grow your mindset like a topper, right? So always remember, I think, therefore I am. First, you have to believe that, yes, I will clear this examination. I'll give everything that is needed. Obviously, what is needed is right prioritization. That prioritization is revision over new fancy material. Make it a point. Okay, I'll revise more rather than going for newer, fancier material. I'll focus on previous questions rather than just going for random mocks, right? Focus first on previous questions. Obviously, you have to eliminate all the distractions that you have in your life. Okay? Also, you never doubt yourself. Already, when you are, again, even from now on, if you are studying regularly for next 18 months, you will be at a comfortable position. Given that, whatever we have discussed, you are applying that. Okay? Have this topper's mindset that, yes, I will win and it's not over until I win. And for that to happen, you have to make sure that every hour, every day counts. I know there will be some days where you are feeling low, but make sure if one day has happened, it should not be 2 consecutive days, right? Maybe yes, and I recommend actually to take breaks every 10 days or 14 days. Treat yourself. Half day break you can take, full day break you can take. If you are uh, rigorously doing that for last 13 days, 14 days, that's okay. I prefer half day breaks. Okay, so just say you have at least done your newspapers, you have revised something, and then you take a half day break, so it will help you rejuvenate as well. Then focus should be on having a mental clarity and psychological well-being as well. If you are feeling too much exhausted, it's okay. मतलब उसको बोलो कि ठीक है, I'll just for the timing I'll rest. Today I'll rest. This is my rest day. ठीक है? Don't overexert yourself at the same time क्योंकि it's a long journey. It's about the consistency. I've told you 8 to 10 hours is the band. 8, 9, 10 hours, whichever way you are comfortable. वही करना है, वो रेगुलरली करना है. ठीक है? That's all. And then finally, obviously, you have to inculcate the confidence and calmness that is very much required in your examination. Right? Even after that, I know many of you will face the issues of consistency. सब पढ़ लिया, but again, I'm not able to consistently perform. कभी कुछ हो जाता है, कभी कुछ नई चीज आ जाती है, कभी friends आ गए, कभी family आ गए, I don't know. Right? Similarly, many people will still passively learn without solving previous year questions or tests. Right? They are not learning from the past mistakes. They are not able to prepare in an integrated approach. If you want any of that, again, we have a step-up mentorship program just based on this philosophy, where you will be having a particular one-to-one mentor. I'll be there as a program manager. You will also have the faculties, respective faculties for current affairs, ethics from PUSER and all, right? So you will be having live note-making sessions, revision sessions, accountability. Every 3rd to 4th day, mentor will call you to see whether you are doing fine or not, right? Whether you are achieving your targets, right? Similarly, you will have videos to hide the things I've told you about. Suppose food processing is an important topic, so we will have a video that will cover more or less everything. You will have thematic workbooks for prelims, mains, and one pages. You will have previous year analysis sessions, right? Brainstorming sessions, how to actually think in exam hall, right? Separate answer writing sessions for each subject so that you learn that, right? Again, all the note making aspects will be covered. CSAT strengthening sessions will be covered. You will be given even the smart current affairs as a part of this program. And again, in current affairs, you will have all these factual things as well. Also, essay sessions will be covered by PUSER, again, a mentor and a faculty who has coached hundreds of aspirants till now. We follow the same thing that I told you. Every week, you will get a test. Every week, you will get prelims test, mains test, and then mentors will help you improve on that. Similarly, you will get prelims camp that will have 60 tests for your prelims preparation, apart from weekly tests. Also, you will get mains camp if you qualify prelims, where toppers discuss the questions every day with you. You write answers and you discuss with the toppers and experts. Similarly, you get 12 GS full length tests if you, again, after the prelims as well. Okay? So this is it from my end. If you are thinking of step up, it will serve as a one-stop solution for all your GS related issues. So we'll take care of that. Now I am opening the floor for any questions that you have. First thing I said in the lecture, every class, parliament, suppose X teacher has taken, how many classes of parliament? एक क्लास में जब आप लिखते हो, that should be around 15-20 pages. उसको compress करना आना चाहिए 2 से 3 पेज में. This is the first art, right? वो लिखो. पहला step वो है. Then you have your yellow book. Suppose decline in productivity of the parliament. It's not the class notes per se. Always remember, I have told you about this. You have to make thematic notes. So productivity of the parliament is one issue, one sub-theme, right? So how, first thing is you have to have some data. Kitne Lok Sabha sessions interrupt and all those things. You have to have a data to have a better introduction. And then how it affects the parliament productivity, uske 4-5 point aapke paas hone chahiye. Ways to overcome that. उसमें ग्लोबल बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस भी कोट कर सकते हो, देन यू हैव योर कंक्लूजन, समथिंग लाइक दैट। तो उसको आपको प्रिपेयर करना है। अगर क्लास से वो प्रिपेयर हो रहा है, वेल एंड गुड, बट यू हैव टू सेलेक्ट टॉपिक वाइज. At the end, if you have good enough notes on 70 to 80 topics at the end, you're good to go, right? These are some very important recurring topics, and again, those that are there in the current affairs. For every subject, you target, at the end, this will be one pager note that you can revise. For governance, it will be around 30-40 pages. Again, and that is a process, and that's why you need 18 months. वरना तो मैं आपको 50 पेजेस की बुकलेट अभी दे दूं और अभी आपसे बोल दूं अगले 2 महीने में लिखने बैठ जाओ. That will not happen. So this is about the regular practice that you can have, the multiple revisions, and through that revisions only you will organically compress those notes, concise those notes. ठीक है? Also in step up, that's why we have one pager booklets. So whole society in 50 pages. Whole polity in 100-110 pages, so that you can revise that frequently and multiple times. जो भी चीज इंटरनलाइज नहीं हुई है, ब्लड में नहीं गई है, वो मेंस में नहीं निकलेगी. आप कितने भी फैंसी डायग्राम सोच लो, ये बना के आऊंगा, वो नहीं होगा unless and until you have revised that multiple times. ठीक है? That is the sad reality. And again, it's good कि हर किसी के साथ वो होता है. ठीक है? Any other question? हाँ.
Lower productivity. How to get those things, for example, self-help. It's a very vast topic. This is the topic, but there are certain things like data related to it. What are the problems associated with self-help? So how to identify these?
Identify in the sense, in the first place, या उसको नोट मेकिंग में? मतलब नोट मेकिंग कैसे करें उसकी? देखो वही है. तो क्लास में पढ़ाया, कितने क्लासेस में पढ़ाएंगे? मैक्सिमम 1 में 2. तो पहले तो वही चीज 5 पेज में आ जानी चाहिए मेरी. बट आई नो उसमें भी कुछ गैप्स रह जाएंगे कि हो सकता है सर ने सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप कैसे पॉवर्टी एलिमिनेशन में काम आता है ये पढ़ा दिया, बट वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट में कैसे काम आता है, दैट यू हैव टू गो एंड स्टडी एंड राइट इट डाउन. चीजें वही रहेंगी, एग्जाम्पल्स बदल जाएंगे. कदमश्री का एग्जाम्पल दोगे, है ना, माइक्रो फाइनेंस लिंकेज से उसको कोट कर सकते हो, है ना. और यू कैन कोट छत्तीसगढ़ मॉडल एज वेल कि पीडीएस में दे आर यूजिंग सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स टू डाइवर्सिफाई. वो सब चीजें हैं, बट दैट विल ओनली हैपन फर्स्ट. ऑब्वियसली whatever the core thing is, maybe your class notes, maybe your yellow book, whatever other material you are using, first revise it multiple times. Any material that is made, they more or less cover 70-80% of the things. Don't worry about it. Rest 10-15% obviously will be covered in current affairs as well. बहुत कम चीजें होती हैं जो आपको खुद से करनी पड़े, और जो करनी पड़े वो कर लो, साथ साथ न्यूज़पेपर के साथ कर लो. Also, some toppers have made their notes, so I'm not asking you to go through all the toppers notes, but someone who has compiled that और वो आपके में missing है, that use it. तो थोड़ा सा smartly वहाँ work करना है. Anyone else from offline students? Any doubts? Any issues? If it is done, you can leave. I'll take the online questions. Thank you for attending the session. All the very best. Okay, online students. Okay, so first thing is, Anjali, this will not happen overnight. First thing is you have to understand the syllabus, which topics to leave, which topics to devote time to, right? That will happen only when you are reading your previous year questions. That will only happen when you are reading your slips. And second thing is, initial 3-4 months will be tedious. I know that, because everything is new to you. But after a certain point of time, you will see the same topics are getting repeated. Governor ka issue abhi bhi hai, 10 saal pehle bhi tha, right? The things will repeat, and that's how you will reduce the time there as well. Okay, anything else? Vedika, the choice of optional, again, both are very good options, but at the same time, it depends upon your interest in the subject. First thing is your interest, because you have to study that for next 2 years, and you have to do it regularly. So obviously, that will only happen when you have interest in the subject. But apart from that, both are equally good subjects. But yes, sociology has an edge because it's a bit compact with respect to PSIR. Other than that, it's a wonderful subject as well. There's no issue in that. Yes, that will happen, Vishakha. Ki ancient medieval mein there are so many things that you are not able to solve in the first go. Why that happens? As I said, it's a vast thing. There are again 3,000-4,000 years of history, so they can pick any dynasty and then ask you anything about it. But idea is not to read everything. Idea is to be better than your neighbor, right? So it's a competitive exam. If something is coming that is not there in your textbooks, not there in your notes, so again no one will be able to solve that. So idea is first cover the previous questions. So for ancient art and culture, I suggest go through those 30 years previous questions, because I've seen even 1995 questions are getting repeated in the last 1-2 years. So this is one source, because history is static and previous questions have already been asked, so start from that. First thing is, again, there are two types of compilations I was asking Akriti. First thing is you have to concise, because again, there will be so many things in the class, but most important things you have to summarize at the end of, say, your class notes, 1 or 2 pages. So various students, suppose I was giving example of Manocha sir, तो 1-2 पेज में वो compile करके रख लिया. This is how you have to do. Second thing is you can build thematic notes. Okay, right? So maybe something around tsunamis, maybe something around cloudbursts, something like that. So that you can do. Physical or digital, that is totally up to you. I prefer digital so that you can modify regularly. And again, there was a time in COVID where everyone was stuck somewhere. If you had your digital notes, it would have worked for you. So I prefer digital, but again, it's your choice. That's why, Radhika, I told you multiple classes may be going on, but what you can do is there are 2 ways. Either you stick with whatever is there in the class, revise it multiple times, and then try to add it with the supplementary book. You have your standard book. So if polity is being undertaken, you can simultaneously read polity Lakshmikant, right? Otherwise, you can choose a different subject that is your comfort zone, that so that you can start on that. Dekho, idea is, again, yellow books are itself very good source. So if you are reading the yellow books, that is more than enough. Then you solve the test and previous year question, that is all. It's not like you have to read spectrum then. So yellow book itself is okay. Aishwarya, it will be there on YouTube, don't worry about it. Kesang, I'll have a separate session for college students so that they can manage along with their studies. Don't worry about it. I'll soon having a session on that, because again, it's a different problem. I know your problem and your challenges are different, so I'll be coming up with a separate session altogether. Anushka, book list. Again, many people have shared that. Many toppers have shared that. There's nothing new or fancy in that. Stick to the standard books, right? You have your Lakshmikant, you have a Spectrum, you have a Geography NCRTs, maybe half a part of GC Leong or something like that, but not more than that. So many better people have shared. Shakti Dubey itself have shared. So you can watch those videos. There's nothing that rocket science in that, right? If you are still struggling, you can reach out to me. Again, if you want to contact, you can scan this QR code and they will be able to connect you with me. Okay? Sushant is asking how to approach newspapers. Sushant, we have made a separate video on newspaper, how to integrate your current affairs with your preparation. It's a lecture in itself, so you can better watch it. But if I have to be brief, just make thematic notes. You need not have prelims specific notes, your recitals or whatever magazine you are following. It will give you enough edge. Also, your current affairs classes are going on. They will help you in that. Okay? Don't worry about it. Yes, that's why you need your Vishakha, you need your yellow books, because for mains you will need something more, because parliament Lakshmikant is good for prelims, but not exclusively very good for mains. You need to add a few more things. Okay, I'll take a session on previous year questions, how to analyze previous year questions. That is on my to-do list. I'll be doing that soon. Don't worry about it. Okay, I think we have covered the most of the things here. If there is anything that best time is today, Utkarsh, best time is today to start your optionals, right? If you have any other doubts, you can scan the QR code and again, they will help you connect with me, or otherwise we'll meet in future sessions as well. Don't worry about it. ठीक है, I hope it was you learned something in the session, but more than that, please go and execute whatever we have discussed. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. ठीक है, चलो, all the very best. Keep giving your best. Wish you all the best. चलो, yes.